I never thought I'd be making a video like this. For nearly the entirety of Marvel Snap's life cycle, this card has been widely regarded as totally unplayable. Domino, a 2-drop that you always draw on 2, is only mildly more playable than something like Quicksilver. However, I have found a deck, and this is not a joke, that is playing Domino, and I had a 70% win rate in top 10 Infinite. Look, I am literally as surprised as you are, but here are the stats, and yeah, that's exactly what happened. I am shocked, I am appalled, I am confused. So let's talk about the deck and see if we can figure out why this actually makes sense, or if it does at all. This is the list, and Domino has always been a card that is a bit of a curiosity for me, because one of the things I like doing in card games is just curving out and demanding my opponents answer me consistently. However, Domino's downsides of making it less likely that you draw good combinations of cards has often meant that she is not a worthy inclusion in a variety of decks. The fact that this deck, this archetype, this Blink Leech archetype, does have those power spikes is notable. Playing Blink into Leech, playing Jubilee into Blink, things of that nature are incredibly powerful power spikes. However, the other thing that this archetype has is very bad 2-drops. Legitimately awful 2s. And the thing that Domino gives you is the ability to say, I don't really want to have to be in a situation where I'm running legitimately awful 2s. Now, if you wanted to do something like cut Domino, it would be very easy to cut her and then pick a 1 or a 3 to cut to run something like White Widow and Jeff. That is also almost certainly fine. But the other thing Domino does in this list is, and this is very weird, make you more likely to draw 1-cost cards on turn 1. And both of our 1-cost cards very much want to be played on turn 1. It's obvious why Nebula would be wanting to be played on turn 1. It's a little less obvious for Korg, but when you get the rock in there earlier, they're more likely to draw it, and that can really matter. That is the other thing that Domino is doing for this list. Finally, she is also allowing us to be in a situation where a deck that is running a package that is kind of difficult to fit in it, the Darkhawk package, doesn't have to sacrifice things like Nocturne or Red Guardian and can actually just run all of them in the same group of cards. Now, is this the best build of this? I honestly don't know, but over the games I played, this is actually my highest win rate deck for the entire season that isn't a 26-game sample size of Loki. Not a joke. The way Domino works effectively is gives your 1-drops about a 9% boost to being in hand, as I understand it. I'm not good at math. I think anyone who watches my stream would know this, but my basic understanding is that instead of having a 4 out of 12 to have either Nebula or Korg in your opening hand, you instead have a 4 out of 11 because Domino cannot be one of those cards. That is a boost of some number, I don't actually know, but it is an actual mathematical improvement to the odds of having Nebula and or Korg in your opening hand. For this reason, it seems logical to me, and I want to credit someone in my Discord, Corvus Enjoyer, aka Fox, who pointed this out to me at the beginning, was you don't want to be playing Domino in a deck that does not have 1-drops in it. I see other people playing like different versions of Domino, and it's like outside of this specific utility, she is mostly making the deck worse in small, imperceptible ways, but she makes up for that in making it more likely that you have your 1-drops on 1 and guaranteeing that you have her on 2. And then because so much of the rest of the deck is fairly redundant, you are able to still succeed. She also has the effect of keeping your bigger cards to some degree in the bottom of the deck. That can happen as well. It's not necessarily guaranteed, but that turn 2 draw is guaranteed to be her as opposed to a Jubilee or, say, a Red Hulk or Magneto, which you almost never want to draw until much later in the game. Now, I know I've been talking a lot about Domino instead of Nebula, who's the card on the page right here, but Nebula is best understood in this context, which is to say, You play her because you want to play her on 1, and Domino makes that more likely. Nebula's an excellent scaling 1-drop when you can get her down on 1. And I think that she, especially in a metagame like this, is a superior option to doing something like Kitty Pryde Hope Summers, because while that is good when you have Hope Summers, it conflicts too heavily when you don't have Hope Summers and you want to play a 6-drop on the final turn of the game. Everything I said for Nebula is also true for Korg. Korg is a very good card the earlier you play him. The earlier you get rocks into your opponent's deck, the more likely they are to draw those rocks. That is basically just very simple math. Having a Korg on turn 1 is much better than having a Korg that you might not be able to play later in the game. Making sure he happens on turn 1 more is very, very good. So again, like, most of this video has been about Domino, and I think I want to address the obvious issues that she has. We've talked about what she brings to the deck, which is a real boost in getting a 1-drop on turn 1. There's a real boost there. I think it's like a total of 9% more to have one of your 1-drops. I think, I don't know. I'm not good at math. You can't make me be good at math. And the downsides, of course, are she makes it less likely for you to specifically have Jubilee into Blink, Leech into Blink. She makes it less likely that you necessarily have Blink on 5. And that makes you a little bit more reliant on just being a deck that is very willing to be a Darkhawk into other big guy deck. This is a deck that is benefiting a lot from other Leech decks and from running Leech, just saying that Shang-Chi can't really be around. Because a lot of the time what's happening is you are going to play Domino, 3-drop, 4-drop, Darkhawk, big guy, because you're not always blinking here. You are a little bit less likely to get Blink, but because Blink and Darkhawk are roughly replaceable rates of power in this deck, generally when you're doing Leech Blink, that's a little better. But Darkhawk is a 15 power dude pretty much all the time, and that's fairly comparable with a Blink. It's a little bit worse, but it's fairly comparable. So as long as you have one of the 5s, you're in a good spot. You probably have one of the 6s. You're gonna be able to do what you do regardless. Now, that was just my experience. I only played 40 games of this deck. There's probably more to be found out about actual math from people who know math, unlike me. Red Guardian is an excellent inclusion here, and because of Domino, we don't really have to stress about these spots. We can just run the best 3-drops possible. For this deck, that is, of course, Red Guardian, Nocturne, and Rock Slide. Red Guardian is just an excellent utility card. One of the best in the game, just an excellent card to just put in a bunch of different spots. If you don't have Red Guardian, Mobius I think is a great replacement. Gladiator is a great replacement. Polaris is a great replacement. But you could also take a look at, say, instead of playing a different 3, maybe you don't play Domino, you play Jeff and White Widow. You see how that goes for you as well. We are a Darkhawk deck, which means we are very interested in putting rocks in our opponent's deck. And I think the main thing that draws me to this specifically is when you think about the 5-drops a deck like this can play. Claw is a split power card. Darkhawk is just going to beat that straight up in its own lane almost all of the time. And in addition, the rocks make this perhaps the single most hostile to Hela deck that has ever existed. Between the ability to put rocks in your opponent's deck and the fact that you play Leech, you are putting these people in a devastatingly bad situation. Again, another advantage of being a rocks deck is that you also get to put rocks in decks for the mirror when they play Jubilee. Now, it doesn't really negatively impact the Blink, but just negatively impacting a Jubilee, getting a Jubilee to pull a rock, is a good thing to do right now as well. This card is so ridiculously good. She's not Jeff, but she's so close to Jeff. We talk about how, I usually talk about her as halfway between Jeff and Red Guardian, and you'll notice that we're running Red Guardian in this deck, so it's yeah, we're running Nocturne too. Solving problems the way only she can, making it so this deck doesn't actually have to be a Doctor Doom deck. I think a lot of that is down to her, right? This is otherwise a deck that it's okay, I don't know how to get into these closed off locations. With Nocturne, you can get into those closed off locations and also play stuff on those closed off locations. You don't need to be a Doom deck. He's not very reliable right now. And Nocturne helps you be a deck that just goes as tall as possible. You're a Blink deck, so you are very interested in playing Jubilee. Jubilee into Blink is, of course, excellent. Now, I did notice, and again, 100% anecdotal, I noticed less completely unplayable hands with this deck, less hands where my Jubilee had no targets, or like my Jubilee Blink had no targets. It happened a couple times, but less than I was used to. But the other hand of that was I noticed more games where I skipped turn 3, right? And so I'm not really sure if that is something that is anything math-wise can back that up. I felt like generally having Domino meant my Jubilee Blink was more reliable when it happened. But also if I felt like it wasn't always going to be playing something on 3 because of the Domino as well. I don't know if that's just like my perception bias or anything like that. But yeah, Jubilee into Blink is a great thing to do. Everyone hates this card, and frankly, I find him a little underwhelming. A lot of that is because a lot of the people that I'm playing against are very built to beat this guy. He's not really like beating up anyone that isn't Hela, right? Like, yeah, I got a lot of retreats by playing this guy against Hela. That was super cool. But a lot of other decks at this point, I'd just rather play Jubilee and get some more stats, because one of the ways this deck loses to other decks in this vein, like things like, you know, like a Patriot deck or whatever, is just like, you just get outstatted, right? And like the tension between trying to beat an Ultron on stats and trying to beat an Ultron with Leech, that's pretty interesting. This card also very good into bounce, but not good enough, I would say, that you feel amazing about that matchup. One of the things I've noticed as I have played more Blink decks is that I have universally preferred big bodies in one lane as opposed to spreading power across multiple. And that refers to specifically at the 6-drop slot, I have Red Hulk and Magneto in all of mine instead of a Dr. Doom. Not that they're not replaceable with Doom, I think the going tall is better. And I think a lot of that is down to when you are a Leech deck, you do have this ability to be like, Shang-Chi's not a real card. I'm just going to play the biggest possible guys that I can. And when you do that, you are very able to target 2 lanes in a real way. In addition, Nocturne is removing some of the utility of having a card like Dr. Doom in your deck. I say all of this because I'm making the same comparison, say, between Red Hulk and Doom, between Claw and Darkhawk. The overall power output, fairly similar. But Darkhawk is like 15 in one lane. That's a big dude. It is astonishing to me how good Blink is. When she first came out, it was very clear to me that this was a card that at minimum went in like Hela and ramp stuff, and then we had to figure out if the mid-range stuff was going to work. I don't know if she would have made it if it weren't for Leech. I really don't. I don't know what other 4-drops would be playing there instead. But I think that when the Leech buff came through, this card became an absolute definer of the metagame. And this deck is built in that context. This is an excellent card right now. I don't know if it always will be, because it is dependent on those 4-drops to flip things into other things. She's a great card, but I don't know, again, I really don't know if she always will be. I think her easiest home is in Hela, and it might be like kind of a Nico thing, where Nico Minoru is good in bounce and destroy, and when those decks are good, she's at a very good spot, and when those decks aren't good, she's kind of not really doing anything. I think Blink could be a little bit like that, where she's dependent on the context around her, and right now is just a very good time for her because of Leech. So I've talked about the 6-drops, right? Like, I care way more in my Leech deck about, hey, I'd like the biggest possible number on a given lane as opposed to spreading across all 3 right now. Because one of the reasons Doom was good, and I don't think people really give him credit for this, like one of the reasons Doom was a really good card is because it was 15 non-Shang-Chi-able power. And I think if you're in a world where you're saying, I'm a Leech deck, Shang-Chi doesn't exist anyway, I'm good, I would rather concentrate that power. I feel like that gives me more ability to figure out what I'm trying to do. It's less easy to play around. I think most decks at this point can be like, oh, okay, I beat a Dr. Doom here. That's a very easy thing to do. It's a lot harder to be like, oh, okay, well, if they play Red Hulk here, or if they play Red Hulk here, that's a lot of a harder thing to do. I'd prefer pulling Red Hulk over Dr. Doom basically all the time. That's really all there is to it. I just finished watching X-Men 97, and all I can say is Magneto was right, and I am forever signing up to serve in his army. He's going in all my decks. He's amazing. I cannot say enough how absolutely incredible this card is. This is one of the best 6-drops in the game. It has been one of the best 6-drops in the game for an extended period of time. There are 3 legitimately competitive options at the 6-drop slot. I think Magneto Red Hulk does end up making this deck meaningfully better than Doctor Doom. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that look at my thought process on this. I am as shocked as you, I think. I didn't really ever expect to be making a video on this. Like, it feels, odd, to say the least. I feel odd about this. It's not my favorite thing that, like, I'm making a Domino video. It does feel weird to me. But again, all I can do is tell you how I did with the deck. And yeah, I have 70% win rate. I climbed like 65 SP. I'm still ranked 10. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, is this a slightly worse version of a good deck? I wonder about that, right? Like maybe I'm just playing a slightly worse version of a good deck that I'm already good at, and I'm just sort of like making up the difference in like knowing what I'm doing. Also possible. I just think that whenever I have the opportunity to say, I have a 70% win rate with Domino, I kind of have to take it, right? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for making it through this video. We're going to throw to some gameplay right now. I personally think that this deck is kind of like a 2-cube machine. There were so many like, oh, it's turn 6, they're leaving. Like there were so many of those in here. But I think that also means you're going to need to try to mitigate the big losses, get the big wins when you can, because a lot of the time, it's not necessarily that people know what you're doing, but it's like, oh, I got leeched. I hate this. I'm leaving, right? There is some degree of that in this deck. And so there's very often, it feels like when people are staying, it's like they're staying because they think they can beat you and they think they have a good idea of your range. And being surprising on the final turn of the game is kind of how you deal with that. I hope you learned something from this portion of the video. Let's jump into the gameplay. Remember, like and subscribe. I've been KM Best. You just got the KM Boost, and you've been phenomenal. Would have beaten them too. That's pretty much still a dead deck, unfortunately. Also, can I tell you how much I hate it when people do that? Like, I'll lose to a deck, like a bad deck, and people will be like, oh, I thought you said that deck was bad. It fucking is. It fucking is bad. What are you talking about? People act like you can't lose to bad decks, like cool 2 gamers don't exist. It's crazy to me. Oh, that's not very good. So that because I wanted to see your reaction. That's like kind of a rude thing to do, no? Seems fairly rude. The White Widow, right? I would expect them to White Widow the Vats, and so I'm setting up for leeching the Vats and then blinking the leech. That's kind of the only way I'm going to get real power into there. Blinking the leech is Dark Hawk, Red Hulk, Magneto. The fuck? We're dead? The fuck? We're dead? That's so evil. I'm gonna go for the Red Hulk here, presumably? Or the White Widow here, presumably? I did the math. Go on. Yeah, that doesn't sound worth it when you just say it like that, I think. Sounds mostly not worth it. Oh, god damn it. So we have a 1 in 3 to hit a Darkhawk here. We have a 1 in 3 to hit a Darkhawk here. Could Red Guardian the Claw? Oh, wait. Holy shit. Never mind, chat. You're a genius. Actually boosted by chat here. Wait, they knew I had the Red Guardian. Did they just beat me anyway? No. Cool. And I checked the numbers, and it actually was that number. What the fuck? Mod snipes, so real. No, it had nothing to do with being passed or anything like that. Again, you guys are just saying shit that does not make sense. Alright, check it. Check it out. Let's go, baby! Nebula game. Oh my god. Check me out. Really, any funny negative? There are a couple that are saved as commands here. Wait, what the fuck? I mean... Dead instantly? I don't think he's dead instantly. We are filling up a lane on turn 4. Probably are supposed to snap it, though. Are you a fan of Harry Potter? Where are you going with this? Generally, I think fuck TERFs. Yeah, I know they have to put power onto it or lose, but, like, that's still kind of a thing, right? It's not like the freest thing in the world. Like, they have a lot of free energy, which makes it very easy, I think, for them to do what they're trying to do here. Magneto. Magneto. Shit. Yeah, see, now we're fucking dead. This is what I was talking about, chat. We are fucking dead. Time to die. Oh, thank God. Everyone be cool, all right? Relax. Ha! Atuma. Oh, shit, yeah. Let's go. Let's go, dude. Here, you know what? We're not going to play Atuma in case that's Space Throne. Who could have seen that coming? Nice, you get a quarter nebula. Oh, thank God that wasn't the nebula. Oh, and that was the nebula. Oh my. That was the nebula. Do we think that might matter? I think that will matter, actually. Because that means that our Nocturne diffs the Baxter building on Altar. I think that does likely end up mattering. She's gonna Doc-Ock? Happy about that. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So at 7, I go Rock Magento. Wait. Rockslide Hawk is gas. Question is like, are they able to do some fuck shit to me? Close, but no cigar. How did they do that? Question for you. Do they see the Nico transform in their hand first? No? Okay. I wasn't sure. Don't think so. Yeah, I don't know, though. Whether or not I think that is Irel, I actually just have no idea. I think, actually, that it would. I think they would see that. Lord above, I need a red guardian right now. One red guardian. I would snap this, but they could still fill up the raft before me. They did not fill up the raft before me. Okay. Okay, so they have a She-Hulk and a Hulk, right? They have a She-Hulk and a Hulk. Should have gotten rid of Titan. Ooh, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe I fucked myself here. We win. Closer than it should have been. I don't like that they got my Darkest of Hawks. I do like that I got their Blue Marvel, kind of. I don't feel she feels okay so far. I can't complain about her. Five plus one is not out of the question here, right? We also have potential 3+1s happening. Red Hulk pumps again. The next turn we are pretty much looking at a 3+1. Really thinking about blinking here. Snap? No, I still don't know what the fuck they are. So blink is like probably pretty fucking good here. Probably pretty fucking good. Hey, blinking. I think like I should have thought about that more, because like now we don't get to play either Red Hulk or Dark Hulk. I mean, that was the worst possible. That was for sure the worst possible. Good thing we didn't play the fucking wow. It's a good thing we didn't do that. Legitimately, good for us. Proud of us. Proud of what we've done here. Proud of what we've accomplished here together today. Yeah. Yeah, dude, hell yeah. Have you considered Red Hulk, though? That guy's big as shit. He beats the fuck out of his Hela, right? Because, like, not only are we doing our own very stupid, you know, leech thing, right? But also, we're whipping the shit out of, anyone, like, we also have the rocks, right? So it's just like, we're just doing a lot of shit here, where it's like, this feels very good into Hela. The rocks are important. I think this might be Hela. If I ever beat you, can I come in and say GG? No, how dare you? Don't talk to me, motherfucker. I mean, how's a Loki matchup? Good question. Don't know yet. Okay, I mean, that's a Magneto or a Red Hulk or some shit. Game 7, Knicks lose. Is that actually happening right now? Which one's it gonna be? Red Hulk it is. Perfect. Sarah. Okay, so they have a Killmonger. They have a Killmonger here that we have to be legitimately very scared of, right? Here's the thing, though. What if we don't do the Nocturne play? Only if they top decked it? We don't know that. I'm not even sure I want to do this. To play around Shang, yes. Okay. I don't know why I'm sweating this shit, man. No. But yes. Would have been cool if I had that for sure. What if, you know? We'll never know. Solid fucking hit there, guys. You're doing great, gang. Oh, their snap? I mean, they probably just didn't think about that. It's a reasonable thing not to be concerned with, I think. Yes. I think the Kitty Ange Hope thing is very odd. They fixed it, so... How does this work right now? I actually just don't know. Can anyone tell me the way in which Starlight and Hollow work? I simply am unaware. Hollow first? That's what I think is supposed to happen. That's what I believe is supposed to happen. But I genuinely, I don't know. Okay. Do we think they're going to use all their energy this turn? It's kind of the only question. See, we definitely did, so got him.